Summary of Civilization and Its Discontents by Sigmund Freud. Civilization and Its Discontents is a long article by Sigmund Freud. He starts by talking about how he can't understand what he calls religious feeling. Freud himself is not religious, but he has good friends who are. Freud thinks that religion is a key part of how societies work, even in places where people no longer believe in God in the same way. In his essay, Freud tries to figure out how people connect to their societies, how societies are made, and how the mental forces of one person interact with the mental forces of a group. Freud identifies the ego, superego, and id as the three forces that are unique to each person. These are the self that controls the self, and the deep, base wants. He wants to know how these forces show up in society. Freud's writing flows naturally, not in a strict order but by connecting ideas that go together. Freud is interested in how religions work in society and sees in them a kind of giving, selfless love, at least as an ideal. Freud wonders if this kind of pure love and the religious feelings that go along with it keep societies together. However, he says that acts of kindness alone can't make a society. Freud then talks about how people become connected to each other. Freud says that they do this through sexual love in the family. Men and women get together and have children. These children have sexual relationships with their parents that have been interrupted and can't be finished. Both the love drive, eros, and the death drive, thanatos, are at work in these relationships. This is a mix of strong sexual attraction and a desire to destroy what is closest and most important to us. Freud thinks that because societies are made up of smaller groups, like the family, societies must act according to the love and death drives. This means that societies are kept together by both the individual's selfish desire for freedom and the group's selfless desire for safety and stability. Freud thinks that other ways of understanding social organization, like the Christian Golden Rule, only explain part of the problem, the group part. Freud's model also takes into account the freedoms of each person in society. People want to be able to live their own lives, but they also want the help, security, and love of others. At the end of the article, Freud makes an indirect connection between his work and the political situation at the time it was written. In Europe in the 1930s, the danger of communism and fascism, which are different kinds of collective societies, makes Freud wonder if civilization is really going downhill. Freud ends the piece with a question about whether or not societies, like people, can be neurotic or too worried about their basic urges to love and destroy.
About the author. Sigmund Freud was the creator of psychoanalytic theory and one of the 20th century's most influential thinkers in the fields of psychology and sociology. Born in Austria to Galician Jewish parents in 1856, Freud trained to be a doctor at the University of Vienna, graduating in 1881. Freud studied the brain, including cerebral palsy and aphasia, before developing methods of treating psychological ailments through what he called the talking cure, which consisted of a combination of dream analysis, free association, and intensive questioning into the patient's familial relations. Freud married Martha Bernays in 1886 and with her had 6 children. There were rumors as well that, after 1896, Freud had an ongoing affair with Martha's sister, Minna Bernays. Meanwhile, Freud's career flourished, in both private practice and as a professor. Freud's ideas proved to be enormously influential, including his notions of repression and the unconscious, and his concepts of the Oedipus complex, describing a son's desire to kill his father and wed his mother, anal retentiveness, regarding obsessive organization in early childhood, and the ego, id, and superego, which Freud described as the 3 components of the mind. Freud fled Austria in 1938 to escape the Nazis, and died a year later in England. His ideas remain important in psychology and many other fields, such as literary studies. Many of his students, including Carl Jung, also went on to influential careers in psychology, though many of their ideas diverged from their former teachers over time and they developed their own schools of thought.
Hope we summarized it fully and you liked it. Please hit the like button and subscribe to our channel so that we are motivated to create more videos.